Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving into the tricky terrain of conflict in relationships, specifically, the common mistakes couples make when things go sideways.
Absolutely, there's a lot to unpack there. What's the first pitfall you've noticed?
Well, the first big mistake is the you change mindset. It's like, one partner has a laundry list of things the other should be doing differently, while their own list is either empty or, filled with hopeless ideas. Instead of trying to become more understanding, it just leads to defensiveness.
Right. Because when you keep pointing out your partner's shortcomings, it almost guarantees they won't want to change at all. It's a loop of blame, if you will.
Exactly. It's like they're each stuck in a mirror, seeing only the flaws. And that leads us into the second mistake, protesting louder. When one partner feels unheard, they often shout louder, escalate with sarcasm, or even throw in some nasty name-calling. It's a classic case of thinking volume equals validity.
Right? And sometimes they even bring in outside opinions or punish their partner by withholding intimacy. It's just, counterproductive, isn't it?
Absolutely. The whole idea of raising your voice to be taken seriously, well, it rarely works because it builds a case against your partner instead of clearing up the issue.
So, what about the third mistake? I think that's one many couples face.
The third pitfall is the flee and pursue pattern. One partner might essentially check out, either physically leaving or just mentally shutting down, while the other tries to keep pulling them back in. It's like a tug of war where nobody really wins.
That pattern sounds so familiar. One person wants space while desperately needing connection, and the other feels abandoned. It creates a vicious cycle.
Yeah, and what's interesting is this isn't just about who wins or loses in an argument. It really undermines the emotional bedrock of the relationship. When patterns like this set in, mutual understanding suffers.
So if these are the common pitfalls, what's the remedy? How do couples break free of this gridlock?
Well, the recipe for breaking gridlock starts with a mindset shift. Instead of the right versus wrong mentality, couples are encouraged to start thinking, yes, and, which means accepting that both partners have valid points. It opens up the floor for creative solutions.
That sounds promising. It's like moving from a zero-sum game to a cooperative challenge. But should couples really expect to uncover the root causes behind their conflicts?
Exactly, and that's another key point. Often these arguments aren't really about the surface issue. They stem from deeper unresolved issues from childhood or past trauma. It's crucial to ask, what is this argument really about? Sometimes it requires getting vulnerable and sharing those deeper feelings.
I can see how that would transform the dynamic. But isn't it really tough to peel back those layers when emotions are running high?
Oh, definitely. It takes practice and, well, time. Couples need to learn to sit in that crucible of conflict, rather than rushing to resolve things quickly. It might take several discussions before they feel truly understood. Patience is key here.
And what about vulnerability? How does that factor in?
Vulnerability is huge. Instead of keeping that armored exterior, partners are encouraged to share what really bothers them using I statements. Instead of saying, "You make me feel awful," say, "I feel anxious because..." This kind of language opens the door to empathy rather than building more walls.
That definitely makes sense. When you speak from your own experience, it feels less like an attack and more like you're inviting your partner into your world.
Exactly. And another practical tip is to focus on similarities. What do you both agree on? For example, reminding yourselves that both partners want the best for the family can really shift the conversation from conflict to connection.
That's a smart approach. Now, I noticed that the Gottman Institute, through Andrew G. Marshall's work, really champions these strategies. They even have tools like the Gottman Relationship Advisor that help couples assess and improve their relationship dynamics.
Right, and that's an important piece. Their methods are research-based and offer step-by-step programs like Making Up After an Argument, designed to help couples process conflicts and, really understand what they were fighting about.
The idea is that when you have the proper tools, conflicts become opportunities for growth rather than sources of perpetual gridlock.
Exactly. And these tools tackle even the physiological aspects, like managing that flood of emotions or understanding repair attempts that help get things back on track
For sure.
mid-conflict.
I gotta ask, though, do you think there's ever an instance where these conflict management techniques don't help? I mean, what if the issues run too deep?
That's a fair critique. In some cases, couples might find that, even with optimal skills, their issues require additional help, like therapy. And there's nothing wrong with acknowledging that sometimes external support, such as a Gottman-trained therapist,
definitely.
is necessary.
It's interesting how the advice also touches on being comfortable with a bit of uncertainty during these discussions, kind of like letting the conversation simmer rather than forcing rapid fixes.
Right. It's like cooking a stew. You don't just crank up the heat until it boils. You let it simmer slowly so all the flavors blend in properly. And that's what good conflict resolution is all about.
Exactly. So, to wrap this up, it's really about moving away from blame, embracing vulnerability, and using these structured methods to gradually shift the dynamic.
Yeah, it's about recognizing you're both in it together and that ultimately conflict can become a bridge rather than a barrier. If you take the time to understand each other and, really work through things.
Right on. It's definitely empowering to know that there are strategies and tools out there backed by solid research. It shifts the perspective from hopelessness to hope, don't you think?
Absolutely, and it's a continuous journey. Not every conflict will be resolved in one conversation, but with persistence and the right approach, connections can be healed and even strengthened.
Yeah, it sounds like the key is consistent communication and being willing to confront not just the surface issues, but the underlying emotions behind them.
That's the heart of it. When couples learn to see conflict as a chance to learn and grow together, they shift from gridlock to a more productive dialogue. And hey, even if you slip up now and then, it's all part of the process.
Right. This makes me think of the old saying, it takes two to tango. In relationships, both partners need to take responsibility and be willing to dance through even the messiest of conflicts.
Exactly. And speaking of dancing through conflicts, it's like, each couple finds their own rhythm. Some might need a bit more space, others a bit more closeness, and it's all about balance.
That's a neat way to put it. All right. So anytime someone is stuck in a cycle, be it that you change complaint, shouting matches, or the fleeing dynamic, it helps to remember these strategies, understand both sides, pause and reflect on the roots, use I statements, and nurture those small moments of connection.
That's it in a nutshell. With practice, those conflicts can eventually be transformed into opportunities for deeper connection, rather than endless arguments.
It's been a really practical and inspiring discussion. Thanks for walking through these insights with me.
Absolutely, it's been great. Remember, conflict isn't the enemy. It's a chance to evolve and strengthen your bond. Cheers to turning arguments into understanding.
Cheers to that, and thanks for tuning in, everyone.